When Legacy Motormaster first released, Hasbro set a precedent for what we can expect for any future combiners. And it was a good first attempt at that skeleton combiner frame. For the first Commander class figure in 2025 though, we get to see what lessons they've learned from Motormaster and how they're going to apply them in the future. Welcome one and all to the display case. I'm Nate, and today we're looking at Transformers Age of the Primes Commander Class Silverbolt. Jumping right in, on the front of the box we have an awesome piece of artwork of the aerial bots flying above Cybertron's skyline. We also get a bit of information on the left, like 3 aerial bots out of 5 to create Superion. On the top of the box we have the full mural of the 13 Prime statues. And on the back we have a couple of renders of Superion and Silverbolt in all of his modes. We still haven't seen any evidence of Fireflight and Skydive in this line yet, so I'm really keen to see them get revealed also. Okay, I've barely got him out of the box, and I can tell we're off to a good start. He feels good and solid in hand, and you really can't deny that color scheme. Landing gear can also be folded out at the front and the back by using the back of Superion's head and Silverbolt's hip skirts. And he sits there just fine, looking good as we all know Concords do. And speaking of Concords, one neat little addition is his ability to do the droop snoot, as well as open his canopy, weirdly. I'm assuming some sort of Micromaster will be able to fit in here. You're also able to take Silverbolt's blaster and plug it into the 5mm port underneath the nose cone for a little bit of aerial weaponry. It looks pretty good. Of course, that's not the only accessory he comes with. He also comes with this thing. Now, we all know what this is, but in any other form other than what it's supposed to be, it just looks like a weird piece of Cybertronian wall. And it is a big piece of wall at that. Look at how big it is compared to someone like Air Raid. And it's about as wide as it is tall, so you know they had to try and figure out a way to incorporate it into every single mode. And that's what I'm doing here. You basically attach the big blaster to it, fold out some wings, and then move on to Silverbolt, expanding his wings and folding it up before connecting it all together. What a big and long plane this has become. It's so big and long, you can land the other aerial bots on top of it, like Slingshot here. Now take this as a sign of things to come, it adds a lot to his weight. It's also made of really nice and sturdy plastic, but I think this is the first and last time I'm ever going to display it like this. Next to the other 2 aerial bots that we have, he's not really in real world scale, it's more cartoon scale. And I think they've hit the nail on the head perfectly there. Even next to Starscream, he's not ridiculously oversized, which is amazing. I think 2 things that would have made this plane mode better would be a display stand port underneath, and maybe some blast effect ports at the back. Just like Air Raid, I really wish they thought a little bit more on how to fold up the robot underneath the jet. It is sticking out quite a bit, and without the landing gear folded out, it gets a bit rear heavy. That is a nitpick though, and I do understand that most plane formers are like this, so I'm content with it. Something really nice about him that I found though is that his transformation is like the breeziest thing I've ever experienced. It's so intuitive and fun to do that you could just do it again and again without fail. You basically fold the plane bits together, fold his legs down, pull his arms out, and then pull his head up from underneath his chest, just like Earthrise Starscream. And getting him into his robot mode just brings you right back to the 80s cartoon. I do wish the face was grey, just like on Air Raid, but it's no big deal. Something I feel like I should warn you guys about is Superion's antenna. They're supposed to stick through those gaps in Silverbolt's chest, and they could really easily get snagged or even broken given the chance. Just give it a little bit of time and finagle them into place. Talking about Silverbolt's articulation, he's got a ball-jointed head that can go side to side, all the way around, up and down, any way you want. His shoulders can go out at about 90 degrees, they can rotate around before hitting the backpack, and have a bicep swivel. His elbows can bend up just above 90 degrees, but unfortunately there's no wrist articulation, no opening hands. They can go down for the transformation, but that's about it. Happy to report that he does have a waist swivel, which is a little bit limited, but that's because of the backpack. His hips are ratcheted and move forward and sideways about 90 degrees, have a huge amount of bend in the knees, and his feet are able to tilt in above 90 degrees as well as bend forward, but that's more for the transformation. All in all, I think Silverbolt is an excellent centerpiece for an aerial bot team. Putting him next to Slingshot and Air Raid, you can see just how much presence they're going to have when the rest of them have been released. And while he looks big next to the aerial bots, he's still small next to Commander Optimus Prime, which puts him, I think, at the perfect robot mode scale. I think the better comparison is how he fares against Legacy Motormaster. And I'm not even going to keep you waiting, he's better in almost every single way. He's sturdier, he's heftier, he's made of better plastic, and he doesn't topple over at every opportunity. This is one case where you can literally see the lessons they learned from the previous release. And he's definitely not perfect. He's got this weird backpack situation going on where the plane just sort of sits there folded up. It would have been great if it folded up more or got distributed a little bit better across his back, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, he's still an A-class figure, and he only gets better. Let's bring in that wall again. Now, in the absurdly large sheet of instructions, you'll find a way to reformat this into a gun turret. You can get Silverbolt's blaster on top and have him mowing down hordes of Decepticons. But in reality, this mode is just a stepping stone to something even greater, forming Superion. Now, getting Silverbolt ready for his Gestalt appearance pretty much just involves you turning him halfway back into a jet. But instead of folding the jet bits over the Superion head, you now leave it exposed. I really like how these new combiners allow the main robot the ability to keep its own shape and have its own abilities and form without being compromised by the combining aspect. And speaking of the combining aspect, this is the part where this hunk of plastic that we hated before now becomes the most beloved piece of this figure set. And unlike Menasor, every single piece here is being used for the combiner. You basically take the wall apart, fold it all out, put Silverbolt as its head, plug it all in and make sure it's all folded away nicely, and voila! You have Superion. Or, at the least, a very, very good Superion skeleton. Because, this robot is naked. But all jokes aside, this guy, when I put him together for the first time, blew me away with just how good he looks. From the color scheme, to the paint apps, to the right proportions in the body itself. The only downsides here is that it has less ratchets than Menasor, and that it has this backpack, which is less offensive here in Superion's mode than it is in Silverbolt's. Nonetheless, Superion is not complete without his aerial bots, so here's Air Raid. To get him converted into something compatible to Superion's leg, you sort of have to fold him up into a cube, and then just connect him as well as you can into the back of his leg. Just like on Menasor, as soon as Air Raid's in there, those trapdoors spring shut. Next up is Slingshot, who is significantly easier to turn into his combined mode. You literally just fold up his wings and then put him on the arm and fold it out. Again, just like on Menasor, the two pieces of Slingshot separate when you fold out the arm and looks quite good afterwards. If you don't prefer the wings sticking out though, you can always fold them in. This is what I've done. I kind of prefer them hugging the body. Something I wish they did with this version of Superion is cut into the leg a little bit more so air raid doesn't stick out so far when he's attached. But something I love about this guy is that you can attach the two blasters and plug it into his arm just like in the G1 cartoon, so it sits a little bit higher. But if you don't like this look, you can instead fold out a 5mm peg and put it into the hand instead, which looks just as good. Amazingly, Superion's articulation is just as good as Silverbolt's. His head is on a ball joint, which is a vast improvement to Menasor. His shoulders are on ratchets, which go up at about 90 degrees and rotate all the way around. He rotates at the elbow instead of the bicep, and it goes up at about 90 degrees. His wrist also swivels all the way around. This isn't a ratchet like it was on Menasor, but I don't really mind. Again, just like on Menasor, his waist also rotates. It's a little bit limited because of the backpack, but that's okay. His hips go up and forward 90 degrees. His knees bend down 90 degrees, and his feet tilt at about 45 degrees. Standing next to Commander Optimus Prime, you can see how big Superion really is. I think this is a really good size for a combiner. I don't like it when they make everyone look like core class figures, but I don't like it when they're too small either. It's also amazing that with just a few advancements, he trumps Menasor in almost every single way. For me, the key items here are the ball joint in Superion's head. That was something that was sorely missing from Menasor. This mixed in with proportions being better on Superion, and the core robots being a lot better than the Stunticons. At least so far. I never thought I'd like a combiner this much. I always thought they were too big, or their joints were too loose, and especially not Superion. I was always partial to the Decepticon combiners. Devastator or Bruticus, I was always expecting to have a figure come out and utterly blow me away. But this guy has just made his way onto the top of my list for figures I've reviewed this year. And to be honest, I cannot wait for A, the rest of the aerial bots to come out, but B, what they're going to do with the upcoming Devastator and Bruticus figures. I think they're just going to make my jaw hit the floor. But anyway, thank you so much for watching my review. If you liked this content and you want more, feel free to hit subscribe, leave a like, or even a comment with your own thoughts. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again, and we'll catch up soon.